my talk today is about I, me, and we, about how do we connect with everyone? How are we connected? Um, I had an experience this week where I uh, went to the Safeway store, and as I was walking in, I saw a man out in the parking lot. He was setting up some equipment, and when I came out, he was playing. He had a stereo system, and was playing the instrumental version of "Hallelujah" by Leonard Cohen, which is a very powerful song, and playing the violin, accompanying it with the violin, and it was powerful. Imagine in a, a rushed state in a Safeway parking lot, and here is this music, and people were stopping and looking, and I uh, I stopped and I gave him some money, and I got in my car and I just started weeping. I realized how much stress I was carrying. I just moved a week ago, and trying to unpack and get everything done. And I was rushing around, and hearing that beautiful music just touched me and so deeply. And I just wept. And as I was leaving, I was driving out of the parking lot, and people were lined up to give him money. And as what I noticed is that his he wasn't really playing the violin. It wasn't connected to anything. And it gave me pause for a moment. And then I thought, who cares? Who cares? He had the courage to be there in this parking lot to play this amazing music. And who cares whether he was accompanying it or not? I needed to hear it in that moment. And so I walked away like thinking, there's two choices. Am I going to feel like he's deceiving us, or am I going to feel ingratitude? And I just felt this deep gratitude. And all the people who were contributing to him, they were touched by it. And what courage it took for him to do that. And that's what we learn every day, that we are not alone doing this work, that each one of us makes an impact on humanity. Whatever it is that we do, we make an impact on humanity, that we are connecting with people in some way. And we may not even know it at the time. Ernest Holmes says, if we will have faith in ourselves, faith in each other, in the universe, in God, that faith will light the place in which we find ourselves. And by the light of this faith, we will be able to see that it is good. And that light shed by this faith will light the way for others. So that we have the choice every day. What am I going to believe in? What am I going to have faith in? And if we connect, we know that power within ourselves. We're grounded in knowing that there's that power within each one of us, but how easily we can forget. And it's that reminder, not only do I know that for myself, but I know that for all of humanity, that we are connected. We are one. In the past, years ago, I would speak regularly at a transitions women's group at the local community college. And these are women that have been through difficult challenges in their lives, and they're trying to get back on their feet. So it was transitions. They're trying to get back on their feet. And this group would provide all kinds of services for them to be able to do that. And they would come and ask me to speak about spirituality and money and prosperity. And every time I spoke, I would give them my contact information and say, "You are welcome to call me. I am happy to talk with you individually. I will offer you a free consultation." And rarely did anyone take me up on it. And I know that there's fear in that, there's hesitation in that. There's a little bit of, oh, I don't know that can I do it, or do I deserve it, or whatever. But one woman took me up on it, and we met, and she started talking, and she took out her wallet, and in her wallet was this little piece of paper, and she began unfolding it. And she said, "You spoke to us 5 years ago, and you told us to write down what it was we wanted. And I wrote this down. I've been carrying this paper around with me ever since." And I was taken aback that we never know the impact we have on others. That I would go and do these talks, and no one would call for a consultation, and I didn't know if I was making an impact or not. She changed everything for me in that moment, because I knew I don't have to know that I'm making an impact. That released me in that moment, that every day I'm making an impact. And each of us is doing that. We may say something, we may offer a smile, we may have a kind word to say, or make a phone call or send a card, whatever it is, but we touch someone that way. And that's remembering that we are not alone, but that we are connected. Anita Moorjani, in her book Dying to Be Me, she had a near-death experience, and she wrote this beautiful book. And here's what she says. She says, "During my near-death experience, I felt as if I were connected to the entire universe and everything contained within it. And it seemed that the cosmos was alive, dynamic, and conscious. I found out every thought, emotion, or action I made while expressing through my physical body had an effect on the whole. In fact, in the realm of oneness, it felt as though the whole universe were an extension of me. The realization has, of course, dramatically changed the way I view things. We are all co-creating this world and our lives within it through our emotions, thoughts, and actions." Isn't that beautiful? That in that experience she had the realization that we are all one. There is no separation. That we are all one, and everything that we feel, every thought that we have, it's all connected. So now that we know that, I mean, we knew it before, but we know it every time I read something like that, or I connect, it's like a deeper connection. So if we know that we're connected, how do we contribute to the whole? What do I need to do to contribute to the whole? If I am not contributing happiness or joy to the infinite energy field, I'm not doing that for the whole. Which, by the way, I'm going to take a moment to pause and remind you, today is the last day to watch the special screening of the movie Joy. And we're going to send out another newsletter reminder, and you can click on the link and watch it. But it's a phenomenal film that you must see. And again, it brings us to that place of joy. How can I contribute joy? Because when we're not contributing joy, whatever we are contributing is not for the highest good of the universal energy field. If I'm feeling resentment or anger or despair into the energy field, that's what I'm putting. I'm not, I'm contributing to the problem instead of being the answer to it. And this is such an important time that right now our greatest work is to contribute to the highest and greatest good for the energy field. The world needs us. We know this. And so everything we do is we know we're contributing to that energy field. And we're contributing to the upliftment of the world. Well, we tend to know this, but what we hold on, I have to close the window here. Um, we have to so it's important for us to understand what does this mean and how does this work? So just what we said, we know that there is energy, that there's the three terms that we use is energy, vibration, and frequency. So energy is our connection with the universal, that we know we're connected to the creative source, and that energy is vibrating through us. That's basic science of mind. Okay. We have in that energy, each of us is the vibration of that energy. So as we express in the world, we are that vibration. So we're composed of spirit, mind, and body. Each one of those aspects operates individually and collectively. So our body is always moving. Our body is allowing that energy to vibrate through us. The mind is always thinking. And so what the mind is thinking contributes to that vibration, whether that vibration is going to be high or whether that vibration is going to be low. And spirit is how we make that connection. So how we take care of ourselves is how we take care of our connection to spirit. And how we are receiving that energy, we're allowing it to vibrate through us. How is that vibrating through us? And what the end result is, that's the frequency. That's what we are emitting into the world, is that we're emitting our frequency. So that's what we want to pay attention to. What frequency am I sending out today? Because none of us are here alone. We're all connected. And so if I want to be that the best, highest and best I can be, I want to share the highest frequency I can be. This is from the Book of Love and Creation by Paul Selig. When you engage with something in consciousness, you are activating it. And then you move into congruence with it, into alignment with it. And if it's low energy frequency, guess what? That's where you're going to hang out. Because that low level, that's where we're hanging out. That's what we're sending out into our frequency, that we're sending out into that universal energetic flow. So it helps to have the highest and best with what we're doing. So there's a story of a couple, and they were married for 60 years. And the wife was not doing well. And they decided that it was time to get their affairs in order. Now, over the years, she had a request of her husband that there was a box in the closet and he was not to touch it. And he stayed away. And so now that they're getting their affairs in order, that she decided it was time for him to know about it. So he brought the box to her bedside, and he opened the box, and inside was filled with cash, and there was a note that said there was $95,000, and there were two crocheted dolls. And um, he looked at her puzzled, and she said, "Let me explain. When we first got married, my grandmother gave me very powerful advice. And she said, if I wanted to keep a happy marriage, I should not express my anger, and that I should not be angry at you, but what I should do is I should crochet a doll." And the husband was taken aback that 60 years of marriage and she was only angry twice. That was remarkable. He was misty-eyed. And he said, "Oh, honey, that's amazing. But what about the $95,000?" And she said, "Oh, that's what I earned from selling all the other dolls." Anyway, some light humor in the midst of our discussion. First of all, it's not good to hold your anger. But that's a great way to see it. So we want to pay attention. It's not good to withhold your anger or suppress it, but what can I do to release it? What can I do to let go so that I can be present and be that high vibration again, and to be that frequency of love in the world? Paul Selig says healing occurs in consciousness when one rises above the initial construct that was created, so it no longer has power. And so an example is a child that's frightened of the dark. They're afraid, but once they learn that it's safe to be in the dark, they're uplifted, and they have a whole different view. They're not imprisoned by that idea anymore. So when we can get out of our initial construct, whatever that is, I'm supposed to be good, I'm supposed to be quiet, I'm not supposed to express my anger, or I don't have to be afraid of strangers, or whatever it is that once I get past that initial construct, then there's a lightening, there's a healing, there's a shift in consciousness. There's a quote I found online. It's anonymous, is the author. It says, "The universe responds to your frequency. It does not recognize your personal desires, wants, or needs. It only understands the frequency in which you are vibrating. For example, if you're vibrating fear, guilt, or shame, those are the things that are going to come into your vibration. If you vibrate the frequency of love, joy, and abundance, you will attract those things." It's kind of like tuning into a radio station. You have to tune in to the music you want to listen to, just like you have to be tuned in to the energy you want to manifest. Change your mindset and it will change your life. And so that's what we know, is that in order to be this contribution of love in the world, we have to change our mindset. We have to change and live our best life. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, the New Earth, he talks about that there's 3 ways in which consciousness can flow into what we do, and 3 modalities that we can align in life to have that creative, to be connected with that creative power. And so the 3 modalities are acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. And so acceptance, he says, whenever you cannot enjoy something that you're doing, you can accept that this is what you have to do. This is what you're doing at the time. So, as I said, I just recently moved. It is not always enjoyable to be packing boxes or unpacking them, whichever. But if I accept this is what I'm doing at the moment, it releases tension and energy, and I can be present in the moment. Eckhart uses the example of, say, having a flat tire and changing a flat tire in the middle of the night is not enjoyable, but I accept that's what I have to do in that moment. So performing the action in a state of acceptance brings peace. Think about it. It brings peace. So on the surface, acceptance looks like a passive state, but actually it's very active and creative because it's bringing something new. We're seeing something in a new way. And that subtle vibration is a shift. And that's we've surrendered into the activity, and now we're in a place of acceptance. He goes on to say, if you can neither bring joy nor acceptance to what you do, then stop. Otherwise, you are not taking responsibility for the only thing you can take responsibility for, which is your state of consciousness. If you're not taking responsibility for your state of consciousness, you're not taking responsibility for your life. And if we're not doing that, we're not contributing to the whole. We're not contributing to the we, to that connection. The next thing, the second modality, is enjoyment. And what happens when we surrender into that sense of acceptance, there's a sense of lightness, and we can enjoy what it is we're doing. And so enjoyment replaces wanting as motivating power behind people's actions. Wanting comes from the ego wanting something, but enjoyment is allowing that universal power to flow. So when we're in the present moment instead of the past or the future, that we can live in the moment, we can be in that place of acceptance, and we can be in that place of enjoyment. And that there's an expansion that happens. There's a shift that happens that is very creative and allowing. And the third one is enthusiasm. And that enthusiasm is that being in that passion, being in that place of passion, that I'm accepting this is what I'm doing, I can enjoy it, and I can do it with enthusiasm because now I recognize I'm greater, that I'm contributing something even greater in the moment. I'm contributing to the greater flow. I'm contributing to humanity. And so that's what our gift is, that we are not alone, but that we are connected as the whole. We are not limited, but we are connected. And that everything that we do is that place of contributing to love. And what the world needs right now is love. And that every day we have that opportunity. Every morning we can wake up and ask, what is mine to do? How can I contribute today to the greater expression of love? Because when we do that, not only do we raise our vibration, but we send out that presence of love to all of humanity. And right now, that's what's needed. I've shared before, we are at a place, we are not going to solve the problems of the world from the same place, Einstein said. We're from the same vibration. It's got to be something different. And when we contribute to the greater vibration of the whole, we are contributing to something even greater. So let's take this into prayer. And how grateful I am for this opportunity to connect with the divine, to know and recognize that infinite consciousness that is good, that infinite consciousness that is love, is the only power, the only presence moving in and through and as me this day. And I know that for each of us here on this Zoom call today, for those watching at home, we are one with that infinite consciousness. I know this for all of humanity, for there is no place where God is not. And so, what I know today is that each of us is that individualized expression of the whole, and that each of us has a profound opportunity for that connection, for that light, for that love, for that grace to move in and through and as us into the expression. How grateful I am to know that each of us is that web of consciousness in which we are connected. And as more love comes into the world, that more love is expressed, more love is felt, more love is realized. And so I know for each of us this day, as we go out into the world, we take that love, we take that light and share it and express it. And just as Molly shared with us in the meditation, we allow that light in our heart to be the light that goes out from us and emanates into the world. For we are that illuminated presence. We are that vibrating frequency of love. And so I speak this word for our planet, knowing that love surrounds and blesses the entire planet and all of humanity, knowing that we are being lifted up and that something powerful is happening in the midst of what we see before us, that something powerful is being revealed. And so, how grateful I am knowing that we walk out in acceptance and enthusiasm and passion. How grateful I am for that. And so I give thanks for our time together. I give thanks for this awareness. I give thanks for this illuminating presence of love and joy. And I release this word with deep gratitude. And together we affirm, and so it is.